Okay, we're going to talk about two things in this video. First, we're going to talk about what it's like to play Guild Wars 2 in 2026 and how that ties into the second topic, which is everything that we know about Guild Wars 3 so far. Guild Wars 2 is and has always been one of the best MMOs on the market. It's been consistently loved by its fans in a way that very few MMOs have managed to achieve. With Guild Wars 3 on the way and likely to borrow some features from Guild Wars 2, I decided to dive in and create a new character and see what Guild Wars 2 was like to play in 2026. With the added bonus that the devs said they're going to add a system to the game that allows you to carry over some of your achievements and rewards from Guild Wars 2 into Guild Wars 3. So yeah, it's time to clear some of those incomplete zones and get myself refamiliarized with Guild Wars lore while waiting for Guild Wars 3. So before jumping onto my max level character, I decided to sample the new player experience in 2026. When I made my character, I was happy to discover that right now is probably the best time ever to start a new character for both new and returning players for multiple reasons. First of all, they have the Summer Game Fest bonus event going on, which is giving you an insane 50% increased experience, 30% world versus world and PvP track reward progress, and 50% increased magic find. That's insane. So anyone that jumps into the game right now levels faster and gets rarer and better loot, which has made leveling my ranger a breeze. And by the way, if you've somehow never played Guild Wars 2, you can play the entire base game for completely free and take advantage of this bonus XP event. I'll toss a link to it in the description if you want to check it out. And if you enjoy it, you can use my code in the description to get 25% off of the Heart of Thorns, Path of Fire, and End of Dragons expansions. I've been recommending people check out Guild Wars 2 for years, and I was already planning on diving into some Guild Wars 2 before Guild Wars 3 launches, but ArenaNet was kind enough to sponsor this video anyway, so shout out to them. Stick around as we talk about Guild Wars 2 in 2026 and how that affects everything we know about Guild Wars 3. With Guild Wars 3 on the way, I was itching to get back into Guild Wars 2 to reconnect with the world of Tyria and to prepare my body and soul for Guild Wars 3. And I got to thinking, what is it that makes Guild Wars 2 unique? What did it do differently that allowed it to thrive in a genre that has created a literal graveyard of dying or dead MMOs? Here's what I came up with. And if you're a veteran of the game, I'd love to hear your list in the comments below as well. First and most importantly was the sense of exploration. In MMOs, few things are as important as the world. In many ways, the world is the main character of the entire game. Some MMOs nail this, and some completely drop the ball. But in Guild Wars 2, you really do feel like you're embarking on an adventure. You get dropped into the world with little direction, and the game is essentially teaching you right from your first steps, explore. That's it. That's what you're supposed to do. At first, you're looking for the gold exclamation point, and it's not there. We'll explain why in a moment, but for now, you head off clearing points of interest and get a few levels in this zone. And right away, you're swimming down into underwater caves to find hidden layers and climbing up to the top of a mountain to find a giant boss. And this all happens within the first 30 minutes. Eventually, you decide you're strong enough to tackle that next zone, which tells you on the map that it's got higher level mobs. You wander in and it's a completely new biome. Where there used to be snow, now is lush green wilderness, completely different enemies and new characters to help. This is the quintessential MMO experience in some aspects, but completely unique in others. And as I touched on, the first thing any experienced MMO player will notice is that there aren't any golden exclamation points to follow. You know, the typical MMO formula. Walk to the NPC, grab a quest from them, and then walk to the objective, collect the item, and then walk back to the NPC and turn in the quest, so that you can walk to the next NPC and pick up another quest, and then walk to the next objective and complete it before walking back. Instead of all that walking back and forth, all of the objectives are out there waiting for you to discover them. Did you wander into an area being invaded? Then kill the invaders and you'll automatically get credit for doing so, and the reward will pop up on the bottom right side of your screen as you run off to the next objective without skipping a beat. No long run back to an NPC to turn in the quest, nor to pick up the next. The quest starts and ends at its location. It's simple and it's effective. Guild Wars 2 is a completionist's dream. So many MMOs have tons of little objectives you can complete, with little to no reward for doing so. But in Guild Wars 2, those objectives are giving you at minimum a massive chunk of experience or a hero point that you can spec into your character, and other times a mastery point, and other times still you'll be unlocking an entirely new NPC shop. You're always progressing some meaningful achievement or your build in some way. Now, does that lack of side quest dialogue mean that there isn't any interesting story or lore? No, not at all. After you hit 10, you'll start to unlock main story quests every so often as you level up. Once you complete the first quest, it's up to you to choose where to go and explore next until the next main story quest presents itself to you when you hit the appropriate level. And since there's nothing telling you where to go when you're not doing your main story quest, you're choosing your own adventure. You can head towards that lush green zone because you want to spend time in a beautiful area, or you can head towards the rocky crag because you're craving something something a little more metal. Or maybe you just want to take a different leveling route than you did on your last character. It's one of the most unique parts of Guild Wars 2, and when the quest rewards start appearing on your screen without having to walk back to an NPC to turn them in, it will become one of the many refreshing qualities the game offers, simply because it dared to do something a little bit different. Eventually, you'll unlock your first mount, and mounts are one of those things where you can't watch a Guild Wars 2 review without hearing the person talk about the mounts. You'll instantly feel the difference between the mounts in Guild Wars 2 and other MMOs. There's a weight to them, there's realistic physics in their acceleration and deceleration, and their turn radius. But most importantly, you'll appreciate their variety. In other MMOs, the mount variety is purely cosmetic. They all function the same. In Guild Wars 2, there are different mounts with different functionalities. You've got mounts that can run, you've got mounts that can jump high, you've got mounts that can roll super fast, mounts that can go underwater, and mounts that can fly. In fact, their flying mount was designed so well that it's pretty much common knowledge that another big MMO copied and pasted their mount right into their game. And once you unlock a mount, it doesn't stop there. You'll be able to invest points into it to double down on things that it does well, helping it jump higher, move faster, or fly farther. And mounts having their own progression systems like that just ended up being really satisfying. Another unique aspect of Guild Wars 2 that you'll notice right away is the combat. They didn't want it to be tab target, but they also didn't want it to be a fully action combat either, and so you end up with a nice hybrid between the two. This gives you the fine control that tab target MMOs offer when you want it, and the fast-paced action combat when you don't. Combine that with the dodge roll system with iframes that gives you a way to outplay incoming damage, and a combo system to coordinate your abilities, and you end up with a combat system that's actually quite unique. Not to mention the amount of control you have over your build, with loads of passives and skills that you can choose to unlock and slot into your bars or not. You can make a build that's truly tailored to your preferred playstyle. This makes Guild Wars 2 perfect for people who love putting together their own builds in the games to make a melee brute or a swift archer or anything in between. As you're playing through the game, you're going to collect gear, and at first glance, the gear system feels pretty standard. You level up, you get slightly better gear, it feels good, and so on. But eventually you get to max level, and that's where things start to really change. In a lot of MMOs, if you step away for a few months or a year, you come back and you're not able to dive into any of the new content without first jumping into the gear grind, getting your item level to whatever arbitrary number the MMO's new expansion deemed necessary, so you can finally jump into what everyone else is doing. Guild Wars 2 instead uses horizontal gear progression, which means once you have a really good set of level 80 gear, you can wear that forever if you want to. Sure, individual sets will come out that are a little better or worse at specific things, but you can always make yours work for as long as you want. Now, if you've never played a horizontal progression MMO, your natural response to this would be, well, if you're not grinding for gear, what do you do after you hit max level? This is a perfectly normal question when all you've ever known is the infinite gear treadmill that some MMOs offer. And it's a fair question. And I think the answer for players that prefer horizontal progression would be that it gives them time to focus on all of the other systems that the game has to offer, such as exploring the new zone, clearing the new objectives, diving into the new meta event, or heading off and doing achievement hunting. Essentially, not having to repeat the gear grind every time new content comes out means you can focus on instead doing everything else. As for the people that love vertical progression and the dopamine hit that comes with getting that new gear upgrade, I totally get it. Even if it's the same piece of gear that they upgraded last patch and the same piece of gear that they're going to upgrade again in the next patch, that dopamine hit just feels good, and I totally understand why you love it. Both systems are totally valid, so much so that I personally enjoy both of them. I'm a variety is the spice of life kind of guy. I like that some of my MMOs that I play offer the horizontal experience and some have a vertical one. And I genuinely don't have a preference between the two because it's refreshing to switch back and forth. But I must admit, it's nice to come back to Guild Wars 2 after not playing for a year and be able to jump right into the new zone and the new meta event without having to do that gear grind first. Which kind of leads us naturally into the next thing Guild Wars 2 does well. It respects your time. This is a play when you want MMO. It's designed from the ground up for you to be able to put in 200 hours in 1 week, or 0 hours for the next month, or 40 hours every week forever. There is no sub, so there's no worrying about getting your money's worth out of your sub. You can just play when you want, no more, no less. And when you step away from the game for a while, as everyone does, no matter what MMO they play, when you come back, you get to jump right back into the meat of the MMO. You can head straight into the new zone, farm the new mount, collect the new cosmetics, and explore the new raids and zones without having to go and do the prerequisite gear grind first. Just head straight to the content you like, when you like, no need to run the same set of mythic dungeons 20 times first. And speaking of group content, one thing that Guild Wars 2 does really well is what I like to call solo together. In some MMOs these days, you feel all alone, like you're playing a glorified single-player game. And then in other MMOs, it feels like you're forced to group all the time. Guild Wars 2 walks the line between the two really well. You can play through the entire game solo if you want, but if you do, you'll never be alone. You'll constantly playing alongside people. You'll constantly arrive at the same objective as one or two other players and take it down together. Or you'll end up at a meta event with 100 other players. You don't need to talk to anyone or party with anyone to participate in the large-scale group content. It's perfect for people who play MMOs to be in a world with other people, but don't necessarily want to talk to other people. But if you do decide to come out of your shell and engage with the community, Guild Wars 2 has a very large and very friendly community that is well worth getting to know. They are one of my favorites. So now that we've covered some of what makes Guild Wars 2 unique, let's talk about Guild Wars 3, because naturally there is going to be a bit of overlap in the game design, being that it's the same developers, and it sounds like they're keen on holding on to some of the core game philosophies from Guild Wars 2, while also making something different enough that it's not directly competing with Guild Wars 2. And that's because the devs are going to keep supporting Guild Wars 2 after Guild Wars 3 launches. They know that there's a massive community of people who still love and play Guild Wars 2, and they are not abandoning them. So if you're a Guild Wars 2 player, don't panic. They're going to keep releasing content for years to come, and they're going to continue dropping expansions after Guild Wars 3's release. What else do we know about Guild Wars 3 so far? Well, we know it's going to take place about 1,200 years before Guild Wars 1, which took place before Guild Wars 2, which means if you've never played through Guild Wars 1 or 2, you'll be able to follow the story of Guild Wars 3. We also know that they plan to have at least one mount called a Seeker that you can ride around the world. No mention yet of additional Guild Wars 2 style mounts. I'm really curious to see if they double down on what made Guild Wars 2 so great somehow in Guild Wars 3, but we have to wait to find out more. They also said that they want movement to be particularly fun. This is one of the few things they mentioned about Guild Wars 3 so far, so we know it's important to them. They want you to use your momentum to weave through different types of movement, whether it's gliding, wall running, or jumping on your mount. This is something Guild Wars 2 did really well with its gliding system, with its unique mounts. It's something that always made playing Guild Wars 2 fun, and it sounds like they're just going to double down on this and make it even better in Guild Wars 3. As for the combat, they said, and I quote, "They've built a combat system that emphasizes strategic skill use, positioning, and movement," which I think describes every MMO's combat. But the second half of that sentence is where the interesting part comes in, and they say, where action RPG combat meets Guild Wars build making, creating a unique combat experience. What does that mean? Well, it sounds like we're getting action combat, perhaps even more action combat and less tab target than Guild Wars 2's hybrid system. And we're getting the deep build customization and depth that Guild Wars 2 players have loved for so long. As for the story, they want to start small with local or regional conflicts between guilds, which makes sense. You can't start the MMO story with the world ending. You've got to give it room for the stakes to continually get higher as the MMO lives on and as the expansions release. One of the most interesting things they've talked about is the new Hall of Monuments system, which will let you carry over some Guild Wars 2 achievements and rewards to Guild Wars 3, so that you can start playing Guild Wars 2 now to earn rewards that you'll be able to carry over to Guild Wars 3 when it launches. I don't have the specifics yet on which rewards might carry over, but I'm really curious to find out about this, because this could be a huge incentive to dive into Guild Wars 2 while waiting for Guild Wars 3. As soon as I know more about the system, I will be sure to share it with you guys. As for the world and the art direction they've shown so far, it looks amazing. I can't wait to get in and explore these beautiful zones. I really hope they hold on to the verticality, the underwater exploration, and everything that they did so well in Guild Wars 2. Right off the bat, like we mentioned early in this video, you're diving underwater and doing things that other MMOs today still don't let you do. We also know that this game is coming to PlayStation at launch, which will have a massive impact on the game's design. Everything's going to be built with controller in mind. And with that added player base, it also means that this will likely be the largest Guild Wars launch ever. I'm curious to see if they'll have a separate UI for console and PC, or if they'll try to force both to use the same one. When games do that, PC UIs usually have to make quite a few concessions to work for console players, which can make them feel bulky and clunky. So I'm hoping we get a separate UI for each platform, but we'll see. As for monetization, it sounds like they're going to stick with the buy-to-play model they used for Guild Wars 2. And there will be no subscription, nor will there be an optional subscription, nor will there be a battle pass. Hooray. Instead, the game will be supported by players purchasing cosmetics and convenience items, and then eventually expansions. Just like in Guild Wars 2. Perhaps most importantly of all, we know when the beta starts. It's going to be fall of 2027, just over a year from now. In order to get access to the beta, players should click the link in the description to subscribe to the Guild Wars 3 newsletter and get a chance at being selected for the beta. So at the moment, based on their verbiage, it looks like it may not be everyone who gets into the 2027 beta, but only a select lucky few.
Pick me, pick me, pick me.
Also, you can wishlist the game to be alerted to any updates, which, by the way, if you haven't wishlisted it yet, what are you doing? Click the link in the description of the video and wishlist it right now. And jump into Guild Wars 2 for free right now using my link down in the description below, and save some money on those expansions if you decide to purchase them. And that's everything we know at the time of this recording. Be sure to like the video and leave a comment, as it's finally happening. We're finally getting another AAA Western MMO released. For a while there, it was starting to feel like this wasn't going to happen. None of them were going to come to fruition. They were all dying before they could be released, but ArenaNet has come through for us. That's everything we know about Guild Wars 3 at the time of this recording. Be sure to like the video and leave a comment about why you love Guild Wars 2 so we can spread the word about Guild Wars 2 and 3 to as many new players as possible. ArenaNet says more information is going to come out regularly moving forward, so be sure to subscribe to this channel to be kept up to date on the latest Guild Wars 3 news, and let me know, what do you hope to see in Guild Wars 3? I'm really curious to see what you guys want from the next entry into this amazing franchise. Massive shout out to my channel members, and if you enjoyed this video, then you're gonna love the MMO video popping up on screen now. Thanks for watching. I'm LUCKYGHOST, and I hope to see you in the next one. Oh, and follow me on X for Guild Wars 3 updates.